All right, let's track the dynamics within Teck Resources. It's trading pretty close to an all-time high as a battle wages for the future of the mining giant. Now, the company is calling on its investors this morning to once again support its planned spinoff after Glencore sent an open letter to Teck shareholders last night saying it's willing to make improvements on its takeover bid. But mining industry veteran and Teck shareholder Ross Beaty says he strongly supports the split and Teck's rejection of Glencore. Let's talk about why and bring in Ross Beaty, who's founder and chair emeritus at Pan American Silver and chairman of Equinox Gold. Ross, thank you so much for being with us. You kind of laid out your views in a brief statement, but I wonder if you could, for the benefit of our viewers who haven't read that, just lay out your case and why you support Teck's proposal.
Sure. Good morning. Well, there's a lot of reasons why I support this split, and they could be grouped into financial reasons and kind of non-financial reasons. On the financial side, it just doesn't make any sense to me to take an offer from one company, before the value-creating split is being done, to contaminate, dirty coal of Glencore with clean coal of Teck into a new entity that we don't know much about. When you can split them and have one and one make three, in the sense that create competitive bids, if that's in fact what transpires for Teck Metals, down the road a little bit, bring in bids from other interested players like BHP and Rio Tinto and some of these other big companies that would have a natural interest in Teck's assets like Glencore. And also on the coal side, you have other entities that might want to combine with Elk Valley Coal. So it's just the wrong time to consider this. And in terms of value creation, which is what most shareholders are thinking about, I think there's a lot more value creation through the split than through accepting a bid from Glencore today. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And then there's a whole bunch of non-financial reasons that are of interest to me personally. We lose that big head office in Canada. This is a really negative thing for Canada, negative for Vancouver. And if you actually look at what Teck is and has been for many years, Teck is a world leader in things like environmental management.
I think, Ross, I don't know if you can hear me, but we seem to have lost your audio. I'm just waiting for word from the control room whether it's come back. No, I don't think we have received Ross's audio. I'm going to give them a second to work on it and just go through kind of the latest that we've heard from Waratah Capital, which is a shareholder in Teck Resources, and has said that they are planning to vote against the proposal. And they go through a litany of reasons as to why, and it kind of picks up on what Ross was speaking about. Ross said on the financial side, he thinks the structure is more beneficial to shareholders. I think we have Ross back. Ross, we lost you at the point where you were talking about the non-financial reasons. You mentioned, I think we last left you off, and you were saying the headquarters remaining in Canada, specifically Vancouver, important. If you could just continue your thought from there.
Sure. Sorry about that. That was completely my mistake. After 3 years of Zoom, we still screw up on these things. Yeah, the non-financial stuff, the value of a head office to a city, to a country is huge. And then there's the other side where Teck is really a world leader in the mining industry in things like environmental, social, and governance matters. A real leader. That leadership coming in, for example, Glencore, which has got a rather checkered history of this stuff. And I like to perpetuate that. Canada is a global leader in mining. We lose a large, Teck is the biggest diversified mining company in Canada. We lose that kind of thing, and it's just not the same place. And the ecosystem of the mining. I don't know why I'm getting muted.
Okay, we got it.
So anyway, I just see all sorts of negative reasons on both the financial side and the non-financial side to make this transaction.
Okay, so let me put some arguments to you. First, let's start on the financial side of things. The case for those who want to see the Glencore deal done, saying you're getting kind of that instant premium. It happens right away, and that they really pick at the structure. So this is not really a split in a pure sense. These are still companies that are going to be intertwined. The coal cash flows flowing into the copper and the mining business, and that structure is complex and mitigates any potential value creation that might come from, a bidder looking to do a deal with the metals part of the business. Can you speak to that criticism that the way Teck is going forward is complicated and makes it difficult to unlock value?
Yeah, that's true for the short term, but over the long term, and we have to think long term. This is a world that is going to value the kind of minerals that Teck has more and more in the future. These are critical minerals: copper, zinc, and even steelmaking coal. And so they're going to have greater value in the future, I think, and to split them today just doesn't make any economic sense to me. Yes, a shareholder today might look at a short-term gain, but they lose the long-term value creation that Teck is all about. And I will see that with the Teck Metals business. And ultimately, over, I think, a 6-year period, they're going to integrate. They're going to lose that integration and be independent companies. And over that period, you're going to see other companies wanting to take a real hard look at these businesses. And we'll leave the shareholders then to decide. And I'm going to be one of those shareholders. I'm in this business for the long term. And I think the value creation proposition is much, much better over the long term with a split than it is taking a bid today from a Swiss company that, like I said, doesn't have a great record. And I'm going to stick with the Canadian company that I know very well.
So I feel like there's a conflict there. How can you, on one hand, talk about wanting it to root for it as a Canadian champion, but then also at the same time saying down the road, there could be an opportunity for, I think, a foreign player to come and buy it?
Sure. I mean, that's possible. If a competitive bid happens and if Teck's board elects to support a really, really great offer from another company, that's going to be the way of the future. It's something that I hope won't happen, but I just see, even if it does not happen, I still see the value proposition being better with the Teck Metals business. And if it does happen, you're going to see a better value proposition than the one that Glencore is proposing today. If that's the way of the world, so be it. But I just don't accept that this is the time to do it with a kind of a preemptive offer today, in the absence of a competitive proposal, competitive process.
I'm looking at Teck Resources trading close to all-time high levels. Because you have that long-term view, what are you thinking? What kind of upside do you think you'll get if you're able to go with this proposed transaction, proposed split by Teck?
Sure. Well, I've watched Teck for many years. I've been in the mining world a long time, and in Vancouver, of course, Teck's the biggest player here, and many of the employees are friends of mine, and I've watched how well they've done, and it's a cyclical world. They go up and they go down. So I can't put a high price on where Teck's going to be. I just know that the business is a very, very good one. These are world-class assets that Teck owns. They're very valuable. That the world of mining and metal products is a very good one, looking to the immediate and even medium-term future with the energy transition that requires these metals. And so I'm happy to be a long-term shareholder of that business. I just think it's going to prosper. I can't say if it's going to double or triple in the next 5 or 6 years. Nobody can. But the prospects are very good. And that's why I like to stay with that business and with that management team that's done so well and is so strong as a leader, not only in mining, but in these other things that are very important to society today. I take certainty over uncertainty, and I think the value proposition is better through the split than it is through taking a bid today, clipping the coupon, getting a short-term gain, and maybe certainty over uncertainty. But I'm going to take the uncertainty that's going to give me a better value proposition, in my view, as a long-term investor in this space.
If shareholders don't vote this through on April 26, do you think that this is something that should be put to the federal government? And what would you like to hear them say or do?
Yeah, I think it will be put to the federal government, and I think they're going to look at this very closely, quite frankly. You have a Canadian champion, a world-class company, doing great things on the world stage. And just in Canada, Teck has some big assets, and I think they're going to look at this very closely. It just so happens that Glencore does have a fairly checkered history. They have had a rather difficult time working in places in Africa, in Kazakhstan. They've had obviously they've had bribery allegations that have been settled, and some of their top management has been censured. So it's a company with not such a great record, and I'm nervous about partnering with that kind of company as becoming a shareholder of theirs. And I think that's something we have to recognize as the real world.
Ross,